Wednesday night, everybody. Glad you're here with us tonight. I see Harry's on over here. I'm gonna flip him over to co-host. He always loves it when I make him co-host, and we'll get him on there. I haven't seen Dr. Jack pop on yet, but I've talked to him. I expect he will. Liz,
I'm on.
Oh, you are good.
Do you not see me?
I see you now,
see
buddy.
you now.
Okay.
I'm going to mute.
Yep. And then Liz has got a little bit, and I've got some stuff, and we'll have a lot of fun together. So let's turn it over to Harry. You ready to go, Harry?
I'm ready. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Okay. I'm going to start off with anybody that listened last week, some old stuff, and then I got some interesting new stuff. So let me get moving here. Okay. Now, the first thing is Steve wanted me to bring this thing up. This is a snowplow. It's a Lionel snowplow that I snowed. And I put clear windows up top here. And then I did some surgery on the floor. And if you can get in there and see that, I added some figures in there and some LEDs inside the cabin. So that is Woodland Scenic Snow. And it's on there pretty good. So that's from last week. So that's the snowplow. Turn that off.
That came out really good, Harry.
Yeah, you said you wanted to see it, so I finished it up.
Thank you.
And that's how it finally turned out. Didn't want to put too much snow on it. Okay, now this is something from last week. This is one of those Lionel ore cars. And I redid the load, the ore load, made it a particular ore load, painted it. I weathered it with both chalk and airbrush. Let's get in here on this thing. So that is an ore car that I scooped up. I did 12 of them, actually. Okay, now I'm going to put this over here because the next and more important thing are South Shore cabooses. Now, this is a virgin South Shore caboose as it came from the factory, and we're going to paint that orange in a minute. And over here, get this out of the way, this is a South Shore caboose, which has been painted both orange and silver, and one side is lettered, and I hopefully will letter the other side before your very eyes in a few minutes. And here's a South Shore caboose, which has been painted orange, but not silver. And I'm going to show you how I mask it and paint it the second color. So I'm going to put this guy up in here. Okay. And tilt him down here. Okay, can everybody see the South Shore caboose?
Yep.
Okay, so I've already painted this orange. This is how it comes from the factory. So I painted this orange, but the roof has to be, the roof and the end platforms are silver. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of masking tape. This is 2-inch Scotch. I like to use Scotch because it sticks better than duct tape. Well, it's a little more fragile. Okay, and I'm going to stick this right in below this rivet strip here. Boom. And this one here is going to go right below the rivet strip. There. So there's that. I'll turn over here to the other side. Now, I'm going to offer this thing in a crown version. And by that, I mean a version which is weathered to whatever degree the customer desires and I will paint the roof walks wood color and then stain them creosote like the real Caboose, as well as the end platform, which is this piece right here. This is supposed to be wood, but they painted it, I guess it's cast in black plastic, black ABS from the factory, but that's not the way it's supposed to look. So that being said, we're going to take these two cabooses over to the paint booth, paint stand. And here. Turn this off. Okay. Now, I'm going to do the silver one first. They got the silver paint mixed up. So here's this one. Remember, this one had orange side, so the orange is already done. So now I'm going to paint the roof and the ends silver. And the silver that I'm using is True Color TCP 013 aluminum. I mix this up. And here it is, painted aluminum. Not enough paint in there. It's too thin. Okay, so this is the silver end platform. Silver roof. End platform. Okay, so this is the silver part of the South Shore Caboose. Yeah. Gotta keep the brush moving. Never hold the brush steady. There you go. Okay. There. There. Okay. So there's the silver roof and ends, and I forgot to mask the cupola, so that's the cupola gets the silver roof also. In fact, I'm going to just do this cupola right here, and then I'll paint the sides red, and I'll mask up the cupola tomorrow morning. So there's the cupola. That gets silver also. Okay. Now here is the actual caboose. I'm going to make this orange. The color that I'm using here is Milwaukee Orange, TCP 111. The TCP is True Color Paint. Okay, so here's the caboose, and there comes the orange. Now, I'm going to use a heat gun. You got to be very careful in the use of the heat gun. Keep the distance and keep it moving. But it gives you a really good finish if you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, you get a piece of velvet flex. When you paint these things, when you paint the windows, you got to get underneath and spray it bottom to top. You'll always miss the top of the window on the inside. Okay. So much for that. Okay, so these are Chicago, South Shore, and South Bend Caboose. I'm gonna let them dry. Turn that off. Back over here, and now here's a finished painted model, but it's not lettered completely. Here's the decals here from Highball Graphics, and there's the top band with the Chicago, South Shore, South Bend here, the logo, and there's a bottom band that goes along the bottom cord of the car, number 15. That out. Just cut them right out. You don't want to get too close to the decal when you cut them out, or else you'll fracture the print on the decal if you bend it too much with the force of the scissors. You want to give it about 32nd to a 16th of an inch of film on either side of the decal. Okay, and I'm going to take this and put this here so I don't ruin it. Spray some water on these guys. Now, a couple guys have asked me about removing old paint and lettering and stripping. So I got a Jeep 35 here, which I've started, and it has been both lacquer thinnered and wet sanded to get the Pennsylvania Heralds off. It's going to be actually painted for the United States Navy. This side here is has been wet sanded and stripped. But so let's go over this a little bit while I'm waiting for these decals to set up. The very most important thing is to have very, very sensitive fingertips. And so you feel the old lettering very gently. Now, you can barely feel it, but when you paint over that, it's going to show through. So that's got to be taken off. So you can either take it off with lacquer thinner and wet sand with this particular, these are Atlas, this is an Atlas engine, or you can just wet sand it with no lacquer thinner. This is 400 grit. And you don't want to kill it. You just want to gently tease that old paint off of there so it's smooth, and off it comes. Okay, because I'm gonna have to paint over that, and you want to gently go over it in circular motions, not side to side, but circular. If you go side to side, you'll put gouges, which will show up in the new paint. Okay, and then I'm gonna wet this side and do the same thing with this. This number is really very, very palpable. I can feel that very easily with my finger, just running my finger over it. That's all got to be smoothed off or it'll show through when it's painted over. So I'm going to hit this a little bit heavier here. And then I get this. This is 400 grit emery paper, and I got that from Home Depot. And they have 600, and I may try 600 in the near future. So there you go. See, I can see the little grooves. You can't. No, it's pretty good. So I'll wash it, and then I'll paint it. And that's how it just depends on the model. Sometimes they come off with lacquer thinner. Sometimes you got to wet sand it. Okay, these decals are ready for this South Shore. So remember, these are called water slide decals. And the reason they're called that is because you slide them off with water. All right? So I'm going to wet it. Then I'm going to squeeze the water out of it. Over the rivet strips. Okay. All right. And then here's the logo. Let's see. I'm going to put this little bottom strip on first because it's more delicate and harder to work with. Like I said, these boosters will be available from Steve probably next week. There goes that. There. This is a Exaco number 11 blade. More water, slides. Okay. Down here. There's that. Oh, shit. Cockpit over. Okay, so the paper pulled the decal off. go. Come on, come on. Is that? Okay, there's a stripe going on there. Which I lost some of the stripe, and I'll have to cut another one. Pretty sure Jim gave me extra ones. If you can see what I'm doing here or not. These little stripes are harder to work with, especially when you're on camera. Okay, so here's the stripe on here. And then here is the South Shore logo. There. So that's there. Okay. And now I'm going to blot this out again. Get the water out from underneath of it. Reposition it. Okay, now the next step is to set the decal. This is Walther Solvaset decal setting solution. And this makes the decal soft and makes it settle over top of the surface irregularities like rivets, joints. So there's that. South Shore line. You want to get on the side of the decal because it'll capillary its way into the decal underneath to a certain degree. Okay, the stripe is going to be a problem. Okay, so there's that side done, and I'm going to put that over here, but almost done. I got to rework the stripe. Okay, now the next thing is we had last week, I had this Lionel Gondola. I think it's a Lionel. Oh, it's a Mike's Train House Gondola. And I painted, and now I've weathered the load with both chalk and airbrush. And I have painted and then stained the interior boards. This is what the roof walk of the Caboose will look like for anybody that wants the extra detail of a wooden appearing roof walk. And then I weathered the side of this gondola with both chalk and airbrush. This is a Lionel theater car. So what have I done to this? Well, the car itself, I painted the roof grimy black and weathered it with weathered runs of weathered dirt and dust. And then I took the sides and painted these shiny. So it looks like a real passenger car as opposed to the, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's real shiny. Not like comes from the factory. And then lastly, the windows are three-dimensional. They come out. Here's a pair of windows for this car, and they're what are called flush cut windows. It's actually a depression here, and these plug in like so. And they have a bezel paint. It's pretty clever the way they did it. Hang on, let me get it in here. There. So there's the window, and you can see that I've added three-dimensional window shades. Here's a resin 3-dimensional window shade. You can see that it's got wrinkles in it and a trellis bar, which gives a degree of detail to the window treatment, which I think really makes it stand out. Now, to attach this, to glue this in onto the car, I'm going to use micro crystal clear. And the reason is that it dries with the same index of refraction as the window. And so you won't be able to see it, but it'll hold the window on there. So we're going to, there. So I put a drop of that inside the window right there, and that'll hold that window in there. So that's the exterior of the car. And then the interior of the car, this guy has a little camera back here and has an antenna over here. It's an electronic masterpiece. The seats came the same color as the walls, which is, of course, completely unrealistic. So I painted all the seats a burgundy color, and then I added seat back towel decals, and then I added figures. Some of these are Lionel figures, like that's a Lionel figure. That is a Golden Gate figure. And I added figures to this thing. And after I put the rest of those windows in, tomorrow morning, I will be finished with that car. Now, last week, as you'll remember, I had a string of lights, a string of LEDs, which I was daisy chaining together. And they were added to this station platform. Here's a station platform. Okay, now I'm going to take this and tilt this thing sideways and apply the juice to it, and you'll see the LEDs come to life. Okay, they should be on, but they're not. Oh, because the power's not on. There they go. Okay, so there are the LEDs inside the station. I think it's probably over 3 feet long. Now you can't really see the light that it casts in the room light that I've got here, so I'm going to turn the light down a little bit. There. So now you can see the light cast by the LEDs. Now you see it. Now you don't. Okay, so there's what that string of LEDs that I made last week for anybody that was watching. That's what I do with them. So we'll turn that about here. And the light's back on. Oh, okay. So I don't even know what time it is, but are there any questions?
Yeah, do you then dull coat that South Shore Caboose with the decals on? Do you spray dull coat over the whole thing?
Yeah, I sprayed the first one with dull coat. Here.
Put dull coat over the whole thing.
That side's been sprayed. And as soon as this one dries, I will spray it with dull coat or gloss coat or both. It depends on how it looks after I spray it.
Harry,
Any
what
other
do
question?
you use on the windows to glue the windows in?
That stuff here, it's called micro crystal clear.
Close the windows in.
And it looks white, but it dries clear, just like a window. Any other questions?
Harry, I'm super excited about those Chicago South Shore cabooses. They're going to be great. Thank you for doing those.
When I get them all done and give you a bill, you're going to be more excited.
Yeah. That's right. Probably true. Well, thank you for doing them. They're terrific.
All right. Well, yeah, they're going to come out nice.
They're
And
gonna be
what I'd
great.
like you to do is maybe drum up some orders for the wooden roof walks and some weathering for a couple
Yeah.
of them, and I'll make them the crown model.